Diane in Tampa. Diane, why do you want those tights?
Oh, Moose, I want those tights so bad. In the first place, they'll fit me, and I want them unwashed because they've been next to your skin, and I can put them on, and maybe your pores have excreted something that will give to me some of what you have in you, the things that I admire, your great courage, your ability to stand up to idiots and be forceful against them where I am a wimp. And also, maybe I would absorb some of your great intellect and insight. And I mean that respectfully. I don't mean that like some of these other people.
Sure, you just don't want to smell them, Diane.
Oh, I don't mind smelling them. After all, even from the smell, maybe I'll get something out of it. Who knows? But, I would walk across hot coals. I'd stand on my head. I'd do anything for your tights.
All right, Diane, you are number one.
Thank you.
Stand by, Diane.
Okay.
Okay. Let us go to Jerry in Tampa. Jerry, you're number two. Why, pray tell, do you want the tights?
Well, Bob, for one thing, I'm no wimp. I seen you on TV the other day, and we're about the same size. I have these scars up and down my legs, and black tights would cover them, and once again I could go out in public and wear a dress. But one thing, Bob, also, I don't want no stains on them.
So you want them washed first?
Yes.
Okay, Jerry. So basically you're saying that you and I are about the same size, and you have these hideous scars on your legs, and you think that the tights would cover them up?
Yep.
Okay. Well, Jerry, you're number two. We'll see what the audience feels about this.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, there are 3 lines. Those of you who want to come up with a sad story as to why you deserve my tights. Malcolm in Clearwater. Malcolm, you're number 3. Why do you want the tights?
How you doing, Bob?
Fine. Why do you want the tights, Malcolm?
I really do need them. I'm getting married Friday, and I think they would be the perfect night for me to wear them. I'd like to wear them on our honeymoon. You know, I really think it would, it would turn around a little bit more even if I had them on. What do you think of that?
Well, it's not what I think, Malcolm. It's not going to be my decision.
Are they edible, Bob?
I have no idea, Malcolm. That's up to you. Would you like them washed or unwashed?
No, I don't think I need them washed.
Okay, unwashed. And you would like the tights to wear on your wedding night.
Right.
You think that they will, kind of turn the turn the bride on?
Yep.
She normally likes men in pantyhose?
Yeah.
You normally wear pantyhose as it is?
Not out in public, I don't. I usually do, around home.
Okay, well, Malcolm, you're number 3. We'll see what the audience...
Bob, I'd really like to get them.
Okay, that opens up a line. Steve in Clearwater. Steve, why do you want the tights?
Well, Bob, I'm kind of selfish. I do work for some doctors, and a doctor friend of mine just bought a brand-new Ford Aerostar. And he was talking with me about how he could keep the paint on it, and he asked me if I knew of any van covers. I thought, well, shoot, you just gave me a brainstorm here giving away these tights, because I could cut off one leg, and he could probably drive into it, let it snap shut around it, and it'd keep the sun rays off it.
Well, you do understand these are stretch tights. They don't really appear to be that large, just holding them up.
Well, they might fit down on that van pretty good.
Would you want them washed or unwashed?
Well, they'd have to be washed, though.
Okay, you need them washed first. Okay, so you want to use the tights as a van cover for a friend of yours.
Right, because I need to score points for this guy. I do work for him, and it would work out well. I think it'd be a big pat on my back, so it's rather selfish reasons, but...
Well, I would say it is a selfish reason, but, it doesn't make any difference to me. If the audience buys your story, then you'll get them.
Great.
Okay, Steve, thank you.
Bob, thanks a lot.
Take care. A line open in each count. Let's go to Christian in St. Petersburg. Christian, why do you want the tights?
Bob, I really want the tights. First of all, my name is Christina.
Sorry, this has got to be sincere. Now, it's got to be sincere. I'm not going to take any of that kind of nonsense. So therefore, Laszlo in Dunedin. Laszlo, why do you want the tights?
Well, Bob, I got to tell you, 2.5 months ago, I quit smoking. And the only way I could do it was start chewing tobacco. And it done something terrible to my digestive system because I've been backed up now for 2.5 months now. Even went to church to try to get free, and that didn't work, and I'm hoping maybe your type would just set me free.
You want to chew on them?
Didn't think of it that way. But send them unwashed, and if that doesn't work, well, I'll try washing them and see if that helps. But I got to get free.
Okay, all right. Well, Laszlo, we'll see what the audience feels.
Thank you much.
Take care. Robin in Tampa. Robin, why do you want the tights? Robin. Kind of chickened out there. Brian in Tampa. Brian, why do you want the tights?
Well, my family and I are starting a circus, and we need some material for a circus tent.
So you want to use my tights for a circus tent?
Right. It's not a very big circus, but I think you'll cover at least a big crowd.
Okay, well, how many people do you think could fit into them, Brian?
Fit in there? Well, I don't know. We got to cut them up. I got some good seamstresses. My mom's a real good sewer.
Mm-hmm.
And she'll cut them up good and stretch them out. And, I don't know, get a few hundred people in there.
Get a few hundred people under the big tights.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm just writing this down here so that we can go back and review a little bit later on. You will be number 6, Brian.
Okay, thanks, Bob.
Okay,
Have a nice
no problem.
day.
You too there.
Thank you.
Charlie in Tampa. Charlie, why do you want the tights?
Hi, Bob. I got all kinds of reasons. They'd really come in handy around the house for many reasons, Bob.
Well, let's hear some of them.
Okay, well, first of all, we're moving in a couple weeks, and we don't have any luggage or nothing to put anything on, and we figured we could use them to put some clothes down in there and stuff. Also, when we move to the new place, we could use it for like Christmas stockings, maybe, since we don't have our own Christmas stockings. We could just put everybody's in there.
Mm-hmm.
And also, we could put it on a stick on top of the house, and we could tell which way the wind's blowing, because we have a little golf course out and back.
Mm-hmm. I think you could use them as a wind sock.
Sure, that would be great, Bob. I mean, it would definitely tell which way the wind was blowing.
Well, I suppose it would. It would, have to be, I would assume, a fairly decent, blow before they would fill up. But, what the hell?
Well, we live on a lake, Bob.
Would you want them washed or unwashed?
I think I'd want them washed first, Bob.
You would want
offense.
them... Well, I'm not offended. It's just a legitimate question.
What did you eat Friday night?
What did I eat Friday night? How the hell would I know, man? I don't know what I did this morning.
Okay, well, just in case, you better eat...
I don't recall having any gas on Saturday.
Okay.
I only had them on for a few hours.
Well, I could do a lot of stuff with it, Bob, especially since we don't have any luggage. I could also keep them in when we go on vacation or anything. I could use them for luggage or something.
Okay, well, Charlie, you're number 7.
Thanks.
Okay, Bert in a car phone. Bert, why do you need the...
Why do I need the tights?
Yeah, why do you need the tights?
Well, I kind of met this woman, and she's about your size, which is about my size.
Mm-hmm.
And I realized that, you have to save money, and I'm thinking maybe both of us can wear them, can save a little money and, make her happy and me happy, too.
Both of you could get in the tights and kind of do whatever it is that you do in them, huh?
Oh, sure.
Would you want them washed or unwashed?
Oh, it wouldn't matter.
Okay, well, just choose one.
Unwashed.
Unwashed. Okay, Bert, well, we'll see what the audience says.
Thank you very much.
Take care. Still 2 more people yet to go to see who gets my tights. Should be exciting, don't you think? Woohoo, gives me goosebumps. It's after the hour of 1 o'clock. Welcome back. It is Tuesday, April the 19th, 1988, or Saturday, April the 23rd, 1988. Take your choice. I know it's all very complicated, but the day will come when you understand that. I promise you. I wouldn't say it if it wasn't true. Yes, indeed, I am Lassiter with you on the Talk of Tampa Bay, WFLA, until 4, as I am every weekday. There are still 2 more people yet to go. We have heard from 8 people who have registered, begging and pleading for my tights. Diane in Tampa said that they will fit her, and maybe some of whatever it is that I do will rub off on her. Mm-hmm. She wants them unwashed. She's number 1. Number 2 is Jerry in Tampa. She says that, well, she and I are about the same size, and she has these horrible scars on her legs and hasn't been able to go outside of the house. And if she had the shorts or not the shorts, the tights, that she'd be able to wear them and go outside. She wants them washed, by the way. Diane wanted them unwashed. Number 3 is Malcolm in Clearwater. He said he's getting married. Thought that there would be a real turn-on to Mrs. Malcolm on their honeymoon. He wants them unwashed. Steve in Clearwater wants to use them as a van cover. Says he has a friend with a new van, and he needs to score some points with him, and he could, cut off one of the legs and just drive the van right into the tights. He's number 4. He wants them washed. Number 5, Laszlo in Dunedin wants them unwashed. Laszlo recently quit smoking and needs something to chew on to keep him from going back to smoking. Number 6 is Brian in Tampa. He says that he wants to start up a circus and figures he could probably use my tights as a circus tent. He wants them washed. Number 7 is Charlie in Tampa. He wants to store things in them, possibly use them for a Christmas stocking. Charlie has very big expectations for next Christmas, or possibly use them as a wind sock. He lives on a lake that's very windy. He's number 7. He wants them washed. Bert, calling from a car phone, wanted them unwashed. He says that they would fit both he and his girlfriend, and that they could both get into them and do whatever it is that he and his girlfriend do while they are jointly wearing someone else's tights. So that leaves 2 people yet to come up with an excuse for why they want my tights, and then we will turn it over to the audience to vote on which one is the most deserving. Larry in St. Petersburg. Larry, why do you want my tights?
Well, Bob, not only do I want your tights, but I need your tights.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason that I need them so bad is because, as you and the listeners are well aware, we've had some late-season cold snaps, very unusual for this area. And I'm a struggling law student, and in addition to the cold weather, they also keep it very cold inside our classroom. And what happens to me is that when I get cold, my testicles draw up, and I am no longer able to stand up and recite in class.
Mm-hmm.
And these tights would help keep me warm and enable me to stand up when I'm called on to recite in class. And that would enable me to graduate from law school so that someday I could make a living. So you can see that this is of the utmost importance to me because we're talking about my life here, basically.
Would you want those washed or unwashed, Larry?
Well, Bob, I need them unwashed because I need them as soon as possible.
Okay.
I need to, because graduation is coming up.
Yeah, I can understand. Okay, Larry, so you need them because they keep it too cold in the classroom and for other reasons along those lines.
Exactly, yes, sir.
Okay,
I really need them.
You're number 9, Larry. Just stand by the radio and see what happens.
I'll do it, Bob. Thank you.
Okay, our last contestant will be Todd in St. Petersburg. Todd, you're on the air at WFLA. Why do you need those tights?
Well, Bob, I'm going to have to cut them in half after I get them.
Yeah.
Okay. The one leg I would use, and I would split, and they would be a huge net. And we would attach one end to one semi, another end to another semi, and just go around and just suck up all these snowbirds.
Uh-huh.
Just all of them. Take them up and dump them in Georgia.
Uh-huh.
So that gets rid of all the snowbirds. The other half I would use for disguise in a covert operation to free Oliver North and get him out of the country. We would cut him up into and put him over our heads so we would hide our faces, and that way we can go up and get him out of Washington and get him free. And I would, the one leg which is going to be to suck up all the snowbirds, I would like unwashed because they don't deserve anything better. But since we're going to be wearing them over our heads, the other leg I would like to have them washed.
Well, I'm afraid that's going to be a little bit difficult. Poor Mary's the one that's going to have to wash them, and I don't know quite how she'd do that. Because she's going to do it in a washing machine. Mary does not do socks, windows, or hand laundry.
All right, well, then just go ahead and send them unwashed, and I'll wash the one pair for ourselves.
Okay, we don't want to, burden Mary unnecessarily in this.
Do that.
Okay, well, thank you, Todd.
Well, thank you.
Well, all right, now you have it. There are all 10 of the contestants. Let me go through them briefly for you, because now it is up to you as to who gets the tights. Number 1, Diane says that they will fit her, and she thinks that if we send them unwashed, perhaps some of my greatness will rub off onto her. Jerry in Tampa, number 2, says that she and I are the same size, and she has these hideous scars on her legs, and she could wear the tights and then go out in public. Number 3, Malcolm in Clearwater says he's getting married and thinks that my tights would be a great turn-on for his bride-to-be. Number 4, Steve in Clearwater. He wants to use my tights as a van cover. Not for himself, but for a friend. Uh-huh. Number 5, Laszlo in Dunedin. Laszlo recently quit smoking. Apparently is having a difficult time. You know, he's been trying candy and drumsticks and things of that nature. Now, I guess he's putting on weight, so he needs something to chew on. Laszlo is number 5. Number 6, Brian in Tampa says he wants to start up a circus and thought that perchance he could use my tights as a circus tent. Number 7, Charlie in Tampa wants to store things in them for his upcoming move, and then when he does get moved, he might use them for a Christmas stocking or a wind sock. That's number 7, Charlie in Tampa. Number 8, Bert, calling from a car phone, we don't know where, says that the tights would fit either him or his girlfriend, or both he and his girlfriend, and they could climb inside my tights and do all kinds of unspeakable things that we can't talk about on afternoon radio in Tampa Bay. Number 9, Larry in St. Petersburg is a struggling young law student, and he says they keep the classroom too cold over there at the struggling young law student school. He says that creates a problem because his things kind of pull up inside, and it embarrasses him when he has to stand up, and that if he could wear my tights, he would be warm. And last and certainly not least, young Todd there in St. Petersburg says he would take my tights and cut them in half. He would use one leg tied to a pickup truck as a net to catch snowbirds with. And the other leg, number 10, Todd says he would use to put over his head as a disguise so that he could kidnap Ollie North. And I don't know, I'm not quite sure why he wants to do that. Probably wants to do a lot of strange things with Ollie. So, there you have it. There are the 10 contestants. And now, ladies and gentlemen, the burden falls upon you. Yes, you, the listener, who have heard all of these sad, sad tales as to why people want my tights. Now it is up to you to vote for who you think should get my tights. Which of those stories touched your heart the most? Which of those stories compels you to pick up the telephone and vote so that that particular individual can receive not only my tights, but a personal letter that goes along with them. A personal letter with a personally designed letterhead that will be used for this occasion and for this occasion only, which of course gives me a chance to go into Computer Center and play with my, computer while I design a letterhead and write the letter. And Mary won't be able to get mad at me that way for abandoning her. You've got it. That's right. It's now up to you. Mike in Tampa. Mike, which one are you going to vote for?
I want to vote for the guy with that said about the van cover.
The van cover, that would be, that would be number 4, Steve in Clearwater. You buy that story?
Yeah, well, I was going to call in and tell you I wanted to make one for my truck, but and put some Scotch Guard on it and stuff like that. Also, I had a 400-pound bunny rabbit, but I didn't have a chance to call in and let you know.
Well, it's one of the breaks, Mike. Life is not fair. But you vote for number 4, Steve in Clearwater, who wants to use them as a van cover, not for himself, mind you, but for a friend.
For a friend, right.
Yeah, you buying that one, huh?
I don't know. That sounds pretty good to me.
Okay, thanks, Mike.
All right, Bob.
One vote so far for number 4, Steve in Clearwater. Let us go to Peter in Tampa. Peter, you're on the air, WFLA. Who do you vote for? Hello there, Pete.
If you'd like to make a call...
Pete is a despicable subhuman pig. You see, Pete was willing to sit there for 18 minutes. 18 minutes to give us his sob story, but Pete couldn't hold on for another 30 seconds to vote for one of the original 10 people. Well, it's guys like Peter that don't deserve my tights and won't be getting them. Huh. Ed in Clearwater. Ed, who do you vote for? Yeah, Ed, who do you vote for?
I think it should have a list, none of the above.
Well,
they are all so pitiful. When I am sitting
Ed, you've got to vote for one of them. Don't be a sore loser,
I have
Ed.
a man who is the Goodyear blimp driver.
I couldn't care less about your friends, Ed. Who do you vote for the
tights?
Well,
I like the man that wants to park the Winnebago in it.
Nobody said anything about parking a Winnebago in them.
Wasn't there a man who wanted to park a Winnebago?
Not to the best of my knowledge.
I see.
Another sore loser. Whoa, what a bunch of bunnies.
I'd like to vote for Diane, number 1.
wait a second here. John, don't go away. Let me do that. And that takes care of that. And okay, John, now we've got you back.
She probably sits around by herself.
I think Diane sounds like a woman who needs a thrill.
She might need a thrill, yeah. It'd be make her day for her, I think.
Okay, well, that's a vote for Diane. Number 1. Thank you, John.
Thank you, Bob.
Okay, let's see. Don in Clearwater. Don, you're on the air at WFLA. Who do you vote for, Don?
Bob is Don the crane operator. Listen, buddy, I vote for number 10 as the snowbird catcher.
Number 10, that would be Todd from St. Petersburg.
I would have rather used him at the top of my crane, Bob. They could have flew high like the flag. I would have put him on the end of my boom every day.
Oh, Don, what a tragedy you didn't get in the first 10.
I tried, Bob.
Oh, that is I would have probably at that point called the contest off.
Yes, sir. They would have supplied me 2 purposes. I could have seen which way the wind was blowing to adjust to the crane operating, and it would have also supplied me some shade, Bob.
Not much shade, Don. Not
well,
much
not a whole
shade.
lot, but
no,
you know what? The only part that really gets me is right at mid-noon. There's no way that I can swing my boom to protect myself from the sun. And maybe...
Well, there aren't too many of us, Don, that can swing our booms to protect ourselves from the sun.
Yes,
but,
I know.
It's a common problem.
But I'll pick number 10, Bob.
Okay, Don, a vote for number 10 it is.
Yes, sir. Good talking to you.
Take care. Very briefly, number 1, Diane in Tampa thinks that having my tights, some of my vibes might rub off onto her. Number 2, Jerry in Tampa says we're the same size. She has scars on her legs, and she'd be able to go outside of the house once and for all. Number 3, Malcolm in Clearwater is getting married, thinks they would be a real turn-on his honeymoon. Number 4, Steve in Clearwater wants to use them as a van cover. Number 5, Laszlo in Dunedin recently quit smoking, needs something to chew on to keep him from going back to that filthy, vile habit. Number 6, Brian in Tampa says he's going to start up a circus and is looking for a cheap tent. Number 7, Charlie in Tampa wants to store things in them while he's moving, then use them as a Christmas stocking and or a wind sock. Number 8, Bert, calling from a car phone, says that he and his girlfriend want to get into the tights together, and we can't begin to imagine what after that. Number 9, Larry in St. Petersburg says that he's a law student. The classroom is too cold, and for reasons that we won't go into now, he would like to wear them to keep warm, to catch snowbirds in, and use the other leg to pull over his head as a disguise for some bizarre plot with kidnapping Oliver North. Back to the phones we go. Lionel in Tampa. Lionel, who do you vote for? Oh, Lionel crapped out. Another subhuman pig. Mike in St. Petersburg. Mike cut out, too. Must be in partnership with Lionel, and they both ran off after the ambulance. Don in St. Petersburg. Don, you're on the air at WFLA.
Hey, it's really a toss-up between the one that wants to chew on them and the aspiring young attorney.
Well, life is very difficult, and you must make a choice.
I have to make a decision, and I think I want the one that wants to keep his crotch warm.
Ah, that would be Larry in St. Petersburg.
Yeah,
he gets his first
like my kind of guy.
Sounds like your kind of guy.
Hey, talk to you later.
Won't get into that. Thank you, Don. Off we go now to Bruce in Tampa. Bruce, who gets your vote?
Okay, number 9, Larry. He has that terrible medical problem. I can fully understand.
Larry now pulls out in front with 2 votes. All right. Thank you, sir.
Yep, back to work.
Back to work indeed. 1 line open in each county. 9 is very, very important to those people involved. Andy in Tampa. Andy, who gets your vote?
Alrighty, I'd like to vote for the fat lady with the scars.
The fat lady with the scars, Jerry in Tampa. All right, that's her first vote. So, let's see. We can go to Dan in Ocala. Dan, you're on the air at WFLA. Who gets your vote, Dan?
Well, Bob, I really have to give it to Malcolm.
Give it to Malcolm. Let's see. Malcolm was number 3.
Right. As long as they're edible and everything, I think that would fulfill his fantasy. Call your radio station and give them out to somebody else.
Well, that's a possibility,
maybe with a guy who has the cold testicles, I'm sure he probably would appreciate it.
Perhaps they could work out a threesome. Who knows?
And then they could sell them to this guy who wants to chew on them. And then, who is the other guy there? The other guy who wants to climb in there with his girlfriend?
Well, something like that.
Well, I believe, you can set this up as, a 1-week thing and just keep going on and on.
No. I'm going to do this for the remainder of this hour. Then I'm unloading those damn things, and I want nothing further to do with them.
Okay, Bob.
Thank you, Dan.
Bye-bye.
Daniel in Clearwater. Daniel, who gets your vote?
Oh, I like to give my vote to the guy that's trying to quit smoking cigarettes, Laszlo.
Oh, Laszlo gets another vote. Well, no, that's not another vote. That's his first vote. Oh, poor Laszlo. Well, so far, everybody has a vote but Charlie from Tampa and Bert on a car phone. Oh, well. Okay, that's a vote for Laszlo. Thank you, Daniel.
Okay.
Be good. One Brandy in Tampa. Brandy, you're on the air, WFLA. Who, pray tell, gets your vote?
I'm voting for number 8, the guy that wants to get in there with his girlfriend.
Number 8, Bert, calling from a car phone that wants to get inside the unwashed tights and do whatever it is that he would do inside them.
Well, I think I'd wash them first.
Well, are you his girlfriend?
No, but I think she...
Well, then it's really none of your business if he wants to, kind of snuggle inside there with his girl.
Okay.
Thank you very much, Brandy. Bye-bye. One line available in Hill now to Shirley in St. Petersburg. Shirley, I knew you'd take part in this. Who gets your vote?
Diane, number 1.
Diane, number 1, pulls into a tie with Larry in St. Petersburg.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Shirley. Whoa, drop-offs all of a sudden. What the hell is this? 2 lines.
Hi, I'm
a struggling law school student.
Yeah, but people don't have a lot of compassion.
Mm-hmm. Well, they've all heard Lionel.
well, and Lionel's office is right near the law school, too. It just doesn't... I don't think Larry's going to win this thing, but I have to... lawyers should stick together.
Well, he is in second place with 4 votes to Diane's 10. It's not going to be easy for him to catch up.
But second place doesn't get you any cigars, though, does it?
It gets you nothing. Nothing at all.
All
nothing.
right, Bob.
Thank you, sir.
All right, bye-bye.
Well, as I pointed out a few moments ago, the 10 candidates, for the benefit of those of you who were not listening as they called in and begged and pleaded for my tights, there is candidate number 1. Her name is Diane. She calls from Tampa. She says that, first of all, she's somewhat of a porkhead and thinks that my tights would fit her, but she'd like to wear them so that my greatness will rub off onto her. She is out in front now with a whopping and commanding lead, 10 votes for Diane. Number 2 is Jerry, also calling from Tampa. Jerry, apparently somewhat of a porkhead herself, says that she and I are the same size, and she has scars, horrible scars on her legs that prevent her from going out. But if she had these black tights, or pantyhose as the case may be, she would be able to wear them and leave the house. Malcolm called from Clearwater. He's number 3. By the way, Jerry has 2 votes. Malcolm, number 3, calling from Clearwater, is getting married very soon. He thinks that wearing the tights on his honeymoon would really just make Mrs. Malcolm jump for joy or something to that effect. Malcolm has 2 votes. Number 4, Steve from Clearwater, wants to use my tights as a van cover for a friend. He has 3 votes. Number 5 was Laszlo from Dunedin. Laszlo recently quit smoking, is afraid that he's going to start chewing on candy or something like that, and so he thought he could chew on my tights instead. He also requested specifically that they not be washed. Laszlo has 1 vote. Number 6 is Brian from Tampa. He's starting up a circus and is looking for a circus tent. He has no votes. Number 7, Charlie calling from Tampa. He wants to store things in them. He's getting ready to move, and then after the move, he figured he could use them either for a Christmas stocking, a black Christmas stocking, okay, Charlie, or as a wind sock, since he will be moving to a house on a lake. Number 8 was Bert, who called from a car phone, whereabouts unknown. Bert says that both he and his girlfriend could get inside the tights and do unspeakable things. He has 1 vote. By the way, Charlie from Tampa has none. Then there was Larry from St. Petersburg, struggling young law student, and he goes to law school. He says they keep the air conditioning way too high. He gets very, very cold, which causes some type of physical reaction, which makes him embarrassed to stand up. And that if he had the tights, then he would be warm and could stand up and answer questions. He has 4 votes. He is in second place. Then there was Todd from St. Petersburg. Todd, rather strange young man, said that he would cut the pantyhose in 2, and he would use one side as a net in which to catch snowbirds, and he would use the other side as a disguise pulled over his head in some type of very strange plot dealing with Oliver North, the particulars of which I never did totally catch on to. They are the 10 contestants. By the way, Todd has 2 votes. They are the 10 contestants. There are 2 lines available. Safety Harbor Oscar, who, pray tell, gets the pantyhose?
I think I'd like to make a vote for the honeymoon couple.
For the honeymoon couple, let's see. That would be Malcolm in Clearwater.
Yeah. And also, if in the event that he would win, I think I'd like to buy the movie rights.
Okay, that should be interesting, Oscar. I know what you mean.
Hey, Ma, get over here and make a vote.
Oh, okay.
Bob, I'd also like to vote for Malcolm. Thank you.
Okay, I don't really think that was Ma, so we're not going to register that vote. Mark in Clearwater. Mark, you're on the air, WFLA. Who gets the tights?
I believe I'm going to vote for the Laszlo guy, the one who wants to quit
smoking and needs something to chew on. Okay, 2 votes now for Laszlo. Thank you, Mark.
Thank you.
All right, that opens up a line in still 2 lines in Tampa. Rick, you're on the air, WFLA. Who gets the tights, Rick?
I'd like to put a vote in for the guy with the van.
Well, he doesn't have a van. It's his friend's van, he says, but that would be Steve, number 4.
Yeah, I got like 4 people here in the shop that want to vote for that.
No, well, they'd all have to call up individually. We can't take massive voting because we're sure they're all there.
I wouldn't lie to you, would I?
Well, for all I know, you're Steve.
Yeah, also got a write-in vote for Bob, the crane operator.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Okay, thanks, Bob.
Bye-bye, Rick. Bruce in Tampa. Bruce, you're on the air, WFLA.
Oh, Bob, I'd like to cast a vote for the circus family.
Cast a vote for the circus family. That would be Brian calling from Tampa. That is also his first vote.
All right, Bob. Hey, Bob, let me ask you, do those tights have zipper in them?
No, they do not.
Oh, okay, because I figured when the weather's good outside, he could open it up and have, like an open type thing, and when weather's bad, he could have like a dome.
Well, sorry, they are neither do they come equipped with a zipper, nor are they waterproof.
He still gets my vote, Bob.
Okay, Bruce.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. 3 lines. Tom in Clearwater. Tom, who gets the tights?
Well, I think we should vote for Diane. I think she's really the only one who's truly altruistic in this. I think that if there were more people like Bob Lassiter, this world would be a better place.
Well, more men running around in tights would make this world a better place. I couldn't agree more. Thank you, sir. Okay, a line open to them. I'm in Palm Harbor. Don, you're on the air, WFLA. Who gets the tights?
Hey, let's go on lucky number 9 there.
Number 9, Larry. Puts Larry up at 5 votes. Still well behind, I should point out, Diane, with 11 votes at this time. Eddie in St. Petersburg. Eddie, who gets the tights?
Hello.
Yes, Eddie, who gets the tights?
How you doing, Bob? First of all, I'd like to say my St. Bernard dog is brokenhearted.
Well, I can't help that, Eddie.
I promised him that he had finally had a resting permanent trash can for when he
Who gets the tights, Eddie?
Well, I have to tell you, none of the above.
Eddie is gone. He does not play by the rules. Jane in Tampa. Jane, who gets the tights?
Diane.
Another vote for Diane. Why do you want Diane to have the tights?
Because she's the most sincerest.
The most sincerest. All right, thank you, Jane. That opens the present down to approximately 8 minutes of voting, and at the end of those 8 minutes, the final decision will be announced and the tights awarded. Debbie in Tampa. Debbie, who gets your vote?
Hello.
Yes, Debbie.
Hi. I want to vote for Brian in the circus tent.
Vote for the circus tent, number 6, Brian, which would be his second vote. Thank you, Debbie. Okay. She's sincere with herself.
Right.
Okay.
Seems like she's a good humor, and she could have a lot of fun and a lot of enjoyment.
Well, thank you,
Actually, I wanted to get in there. What I wanted to do was send it to that new radio station. And all those fellows, when they find out that they're not making no money at the station, could all hop into those tights.
Well, those guys have all been sniffing my underwear for years anyway over there.
I agree with you. Take care. Have a nice day.
You too. Back again. The subhuman pig who apparently couldn't get his car started and missed the ambulance, Lionel.
Hello, Bob.
Hello, Lionel. Who gets your vote?
I think it's number 4, the van cover.
Number 4 for the van cover. Any particular reason for that, Lionel?
Very clever.
Very clever.
And I don't like you doing this to yourself, Bob. This self-deprecating style is just not you.
The self-deprecating style? How is this? I'm just trying to get rid of a pair of tights.
Self-effacing? I mean, my God, have you thought about incinerating them?
No,
I think you need a permit.
There are laws against open fires in St. Petersburg.
I think you need a permit.
I don't think I need a permit to give away my tights, Lionel.
No, to set it on fire you would.
Well, possibly, and I didn't want to go to all the trouble. This seemed like a much easier way to do it.
I love your show, though.
Thank you, Lionel.
You're welcome. There you go.
Okay, Lionel's off on another chase. Jonathan in Clearwater. Jonathan, you're on the air at WFLA. Who, pray tell, gets the tights?
Yeah, I'd say Malcolm does.
Malcolm, who's getting married and wants to use them on his honeymoon.
I'm invited to the wedding.
Uh-huh.
If I met him at Battle of the Talk Show Hosts.
Yeah.
And, well, if you had seen him and his girlfriend to be, his wife to be, well, you'd understand why they desperately need all the help they can get.
Well, okay, so that's a vote for Malcolm.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you. Let's go to Marianne in Tampa. Marianne, who gets your vote?
Number 9, Larry.
Number 9, the Chile Law School student.
Yes.
All right, that gives him 3 votes, but still well behind the 7 votes for Diane.
Well, I hope he gets some more.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Marianne. One line open.
You listen to her and listen to you when she calls in. She calls in quite frequently, and I think she's very articulate.
All right, Jenny, thank you.
Bye-bye.
Jim in Town and Country. Jim, who gets the tights?
Oh, Bob, my heart goes out to the poor girl with the scars on her legs.
Jerry in Tampa, number 2.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
Feel kind of bad about her being locked in the house all the time.
You're always on the side of the downtrodden. I got to go for her.
Okay.
Occupied, and the rest of us will go on.
The rest of you will go on. You're the one that listens to the show. What the hell are you talking about, fella? Joe in Tampa. Joe, who gets your vote?
I'm going to vote for number 1.
Number 1, Diane in Tampa, giving her a whopping 13 votes. Thank you, Joe.
All right, you're welcome.
Let's see. Whoops. What am I doing? There we go. That opens up Margaret in St. Petersburg. Margaret, who gets your vote for my tights?
Oh, it's got to be Larry, number 9.
Got to be number 9, Larry, the Chile Law School student. He will be very appreciative. He's in a very, very strong second place, but still well behind Diane.
Oh, great.
Thank you, Margaret. One line open, 99 in Pinellas Park. Rich, you're on the air at WFLA.
I vote for Diane.
A vote for Diane. Why did she touch your heart to the point where you got up off your duff and dialed the number to vote for her?
She sounds more sincere.
Sounded the most sincere. You didn't believe Laszlo?
He reminded me of Harlow.
Oh, okay. Thank you, sir.
Right.
Rich in Pinellas Park voted for Diane. Off we go now to Sam in Tampa. Sam, you're on the air at WFLA.
Only Diane recognized the greatness of these tights.
Well, that is true.
The clone effect will affect all the nation and particularly the Tampa Bay area.
All right, so a vote for Diane. Thank you, sir. A vote from Sam for Diane. There are just about 5. That number, no, Wanda, you're on the air at WFLA.
Yes, I vote for Diane, number 1.
Another vote for Diane, putting her up to 16 votes. Almost an insurmountable lead at this point. Thank you, Wanda.
You're welcome.
Dave in Tampa. Dave, you're on the air at WFLA. Who, pray tell, gets the tights?
The law student.
The law student, Larry, the Chile law student.
Yeah.
Why did his story in particular touch you, Dave?
Well, I don't know. I mean, he's got his family life riding on it. I mean, he's got a serious problem.
Well, yes, I would imagine it is a serious problem. Although, from what he said, about his embarrassment, he must be particularly well endowed. And when he stands up at, that's besides the point. Thank you, Dave.
Okay.
Ronnie in Seminole. Ronnie, you're on the air at WFLA. Who gets your vote?
Number 9.
Number 9, Larry, fast pulling up with 8 votes. Whoa. Thank you, Ronnie.
You're quite welcome.
Dorothy in St. Petersburg. Dorothy, who gets the vote?
Diane, number 1. She is Bob's soulmate.
Okay, another vote for Diane. Thank you, Dorothy. Charles in Tampa. Charles, who gets your vote?
Number 1.
Another vote for Diane. Okay,
I don't
Charles.
think she's a wimp, but I think she needs a lot of encouragement.
A lot of encouragement. Thank you, Charles. Off we go now to Dorothy in St. Petersburg. Dorothy, you're on the air at WFLA.
Hello,
Yes, Dorothy, who gets your vote?
Diane.
Another vote for Diane. A real movement in the Tampa Bay area. Jose in Tampa. Who gets your vote, Jose?
The honeymoon couple.
The honeymoon couple, which would, of course, be Malcolm in Clearwater, puts him up at 4 votes. Thank you, Jose.
Thank you, Bob.
Paul in Tampa. Paul.
Hang up and then dial.
Hang up yourself, you miserable old bag. Get off my show. Off we go to Lynn in Pinellas Park. Lynn, who gets the vote? Hello, Lynn. Gee, Lynn couldn't hang on with us. 9-9 as we come down to the exciting finish. Dan in St. Petersburg. Dan, who gets your vote?
Aspiring law student, and it's because I sit next to him in class in law school, and it's always so embarrassing to see him stand up.
Well, there seem to be an awful lot of people sitting next to Larry. I'd be a little bit concerned about that, but thank you, Dan.
Thank you.
Steve in Tampa. Steve, who gets your vote?
The law student.
Another vote for Larry, giving him a whopping 10 votes in second place. Still well behind Diane, but we thank you very much for that vote, Steve.
Thank you, Bob.
990. Ed in St. Petersburg. Ed, who gets the vote?
Yeah, I think it should go to check them out.
Uh-huh. Okay, Ed, I have the vaguest idea what he said. Ed is one of those people with kind of a nasally adolescent voice, and when he screams, we can't understand what he says. Steve in Brandon. Steve, you're on the air at WFLA. Who gets your vote?
Hello, Bob. I think I'm going to pull for the underdog and go for the law student.
Go for Larry the law student. All right, Steve, thank you. Linda in Clearwater. Linda, who gets your vote?
Diane.
Another vote for Diane. All right, thank you, Linda.
You're welcome.
John in St. Petersburg. John, who gets the vote?
Definitely the law student, Bob.
Definitely the law student. Larry the law student with 12 votes. Thank you, sir. Off we go now to Andy in Tampa. Andy.
Yes.
Who will it be?
I'd like to vote for the man that needs a circus tent.
The man that needs the circus tent. Brian from Tampa. Even though it's in a lost cause, Andy, I can see you're a man of your convictions. Thank you, Andy. Dave in Tampa. Dave, who gets your vote?
I got to vote for the guy who wants to quit smoking.
Laszlo, the guy that wants to chew on it again.
Desperate if that's what he's...
Another lost cause, but nonetheless a man of your convictions, and I thank you for them, Dave.
Thanks, Bob.
Be good. Lewis in Tampa. Lewis, who gets your vote?
Hey, Bob, the law student there, but he got to pull for the guy. That hurts.
Okay, another vote for Larry, the law student. Thank you, Lewis. Eileen in Seminole. Eileen, who gets your vote?
Larry, the law student, and he really did a good job on it.
All right, thank you, Eileen. Cindy in St. Petersburg, who gets your vote?
Larry, the law student.
Larry, the law student, closing in fast. Thank you. Wendell in Largo, your vote, sir.
Larry, the law student.
Larry, the law student, up to 16 votes now, really getting incredibly close. Bob in St. Petersburg, who gets your vote? You could also learn how to speak. Chris in St. Petersburg, who gets your vote?
Hello, Bob?
Yes, Chris, quickly, who gets your vote?
Diane.
Another vote for Diane. That puts her at 21. Back we go now to Dave in Dunedin. Dave, who gets your vote?
Larry, the law student.
Larry, the law student. Thank you, Dave. Let's see, what do we have here? Well, my goodness, it's the end of the hour. The results will be coming up immediately following the news, along with a couple of open hours. 2 hours will be open hours, so you'll probably want to rush to your phones in an attempt to speak with the legend Bob Lassiter. I'll even give you the phone numbers. Well, the results are in. And while it was really close and an incredibly exciting finish, I mean almost as exciting as the end of the Boston Marathon yesterday,
Of course, I don't really get into marathons. I didn't find it in the least bit exciting. But nonetheless, for those of you who do, in the last minute, Larry, the law student from St. Petersburg, got up to a whopping 17 votes, putting him well out in front of the person closest to him, which would have been Malcolm in Clearwater and Steve in Clearwater. They each had 4. But unfortunately for Larry, it wasn't enough. 21 votes for Diane, calling from Tampa. 1 out, hands down. Diane, this very afternoon when I get home, I will go over to the corner of the bedroom where the tights are still lying on the floor, and with a stick gingerly pick them up, put them into a brown manila envelope. I will then this evening after dinner go into Computer Center, and I will take out my copy of Print Shop 2 for the Apple GS, and I will design a color letterhead, and I will write a brief letter of congratulations to you, Diane, the winner of the tights. Tomorrow morning I shall bring them in here and put them in the mailbox so that the station can pay for the postage and zap them off to you. Do we have Diane's phone number so that we can call her back for her mailing address in there, Mr. Flack? No, we do not. Diane, you will have to call my able producer, Jim Flack, and give him your mailing address so that tomorrow we can get those delightful tights and that personalized letter off in the mail to you, since you, Diane, are the winner hands down, or pantyhose down, as the case may be. But remember, Diane, we can't send them to you if we don't know where to send them. So, congratulations, Diane. Tough luck, Larry. I, of course, really thought that Laszlo would be the winner. But then, what do I know? I clearly do not understand this audience. And I think there are times that this audience does not understand me, but that's a topic for another day. I would have thought that Laszlo, who wanted to chew on my tights, since he's recently given up smoking, would have won, but he only got 3 votes. And of course, Charlie from Tampa, who wanted to use them for Christmas stockings or wind socks and things of that nature, received absolutely no votes whatsoever, which probably seems to be the most fair of the fair that could have happened. Dozens of people taking part in the great pantyhose giveaway, because that's what they really are. They're not really tights, they're queen-size pantyhose. It's the best the station could do, and I think under the circumstances it was probably sufficient. And now that we are in an open mode, do you want to call General Van Ortner and make sure that the Van Ortner is operating? 'Cause I don't see anything twinkling there. Sometimes if you bang on it, that helps. Come on, you good-for-nothing Van Ortner. Start twinkling, you know? Hey! Well, the Van Ortner hasn't twinkled yet, so maybe we hit it too hard. Let's try it a little bit more gently. Just a light little tap there. Ah, there's one now. See, that's all you have to do. Other guys in the market, they go berserk when they don't get calls. All you have to do is tap on the Van Ortner. Oh, there are 4 of them now. Just keep tapping. This is great. God, I wish I'd thought of this months ago. Okay. Gary in Clearwater. Gary, you're on the air, WFLA.
Bob.
Yes, Gary.
Hey, open. Can I chat with Bob?
You can do whatever you would like, Gary, within reason.
Well, hey, I didn't catch the first part of the program. What were you doing? Giving away your tights from the Renaissance Festival?
That's what it would appear as though we were doing there, Gary. That's correct.
No kidding. That's great.
No kidding.
Needs an elephant to fit in them, though.
Well, no, you don't need an elephant to fit in them, Gary. Actually, I fit in them. Cora in Largo. Cora, you're on the air, WFLA.
I just want to congratulate Diane, and I think she had the best story of all.
Diane. Okay, Cora.
And I like your show.
Okay, I can well understand why. It's an exciting program.
In there that I'm surprised you didn't have at the top of the show.
What, pray tell, did I miss, Ferd?
You got cable TV, right?
Yes, I do.
Guess what?
What?
WTMV, based in Lakeland, is coming on. And you know what they have? They have extensive sports programming, such as the gorgeous ladies of wrestling and the powerful women of wrestling.
Well, Ferd, don't get too excited, not at least for me. You see, I live in Pinellas County.
Yeah?
And they are not coming on Pinellas County anytime soon.
I'll have to send you a tape.
Yeah, well...
Especially if the moolah's on there.
Well, actually, I was thinking about moving to Hillsborough so I could,
Well, I've got some extra cable here. Maybe we could, stretch it over.
Well, hey, bring it over and tie it to my bumper tonight, and when I leave, we'll just drag it right on over to my place.
Okay, well, look, like, if you don't get it, I'm gonna make some tapes for you. And especially if the fabulous moolah is on there.
Oh, what a woman, huh?
Oh, my heart's palpitating.
Oh, the only woman I would leave Mary for.
There you go. What about, you wouldn't leave Sophie for?
Sophie.
Yeah.
Sophie. Rings a bell. Can't quite place the face, but that's okay.
Okay.
Thanks for
Bob.
Bobby in St. Petersburg. Bobby, you're on the air, WFL.
Hello, Bob.
Yeah.
How you doing today?
Fine.
Well, I'm telling you, I'm a
God, I wish these kids with squeaky little voices would realize that, you just can't scream into the phone.
Okay, Bobby. I'll try to lower my voice.
Okay.
I'm speaking today from an exterminating company called Crab and Associates.
Crab and Associates, yeah.
They demand that you have your tights exterminated before they're mailed anywhere.
Have you been boiling toads over at that place?
Not lately, only banana peelings.
Only banana. Well, that's out, man. It's boiled toads now. That's what's in. Drinking the tea from boiled toads.
Okay, well, let me tell you this. If it was
Which I think you guys probably discovered a long time ago and are trying to keep a
hang them
secret.
up over WFLA after they're completely full of you-know-what, and I don't mean baloney.
Boiling toads, I know they are. JJ in St. Petersburg. JJ, you're on the air, WFLA.
Yeah, I want to talk about something a little bit more serious.
There would always be that nagging suspicion deep down inside of me that I didn't do it because he was black.
Okay,
But if I ever get to the point that I would not vote for someone because he is black, then I hope I'll stay home that day.
Because I was telling my friends about this because we listen to you all the time, and my friend said, "Oh no, Bob was just kidding. He would never say that." But I guess I just misinterpreted what you said. I thought it came across to me that you were saying that, well, I don't like the fact that I feel this way and that I can't pull the lever for him.
Well, no, I don't like the fact that I will even go that far.
That it could even come into your mind
discussing it. Exactly, because Jesse Jackson says most of the things I want to hear. Mm-hmm. And I believe that most of his programs have some degree of possibility of being successful. Mm-hmm. And yet there's still this nagging problem with Jesse Jackson. And I sit down and I examine it and I say, well, it's because he said Hymietown.
Right.
And, but my goodness, I say all kinds of terrible things, too.
Sure you do.
Well, it's because he won't renounce Louis Farrakhan.
Right. Well,
that's a major problem. That's a real big problem. That's kind of like, George Bush not renouncing David Duke.
Right.
I would hold it against him.
Association there.
Well, exactly, and that makes me real uncomfortable. And yet I just can't get on the Jackson bandwagon. His pandering to the certain elements in the black community do not please me. I don't think Jesse does himself any good when he goes into a black church and gets everybody chanting.
Right.
This makes me uncomfortable. It makes me uncomfortable because it's a different culture, and it's a culture I don't understand.
Right.
Because we don't chant in my house. It doesn't make it good, it doesn't make it bad, it doesn't make me superior, but it does make me uncomfortable.
But he's the only candidate right now that does make anybody chant, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, I do know what you mean.
Emotion behind him,
I do know what you mean, and I do believe in emotion.
I don't vote for him, but he does, where he stands, and he does have a little charisma about him, which nobody else seems to have.
I know that there's one thing I'm just a little bit sick about what's going on in New York State today. It's got to be one of the ugliest primary campaigns that I've ever had the displeasure of sitting home and watching on the tube. And I can tell you this much, Ed Koch has lost any respect that I may have ever had for him in this campaign. His remarks, his diatribes, his going out of his way.
He pulled the microphone away from Gore to respond to some question about whether Jackson was a liar or something, or something to that effect, and he just jumped right in, and he just really despises Jesse Jackson, I guess because of the Hymietown reference, but I don't know. What does Jesse Jackson plan to do about the drug situation?
What does Jesse Jackson plan to do about the drug situation?
About drugs.
Well, Jesse Jackson appears to be one of the very few people that truly understands, that you don't attack the drug problem by attacking pushers. You attack it by attacking users. That doesn't mean that you look the other way when the pusher man's around.
Right.
But he seems to understand that you must dry up the demand for drugs, that you can't dry up the supply, no matter how hard you try. You just can't do it.
Does he put forth any plans as far as how to dry up the demand?
Well, obviously, education. It's the only way.
Right.
You know, that's the only way.
Spot, Bob, because I'm trying to learn. I'm trying to learn as much as I can about these candidates, because right now I don't know who I'd vote for, because I don't know anything about the candidates. Nobody's saying what they're really standing for.
Well, it's a tough job finding out something about the candidates. You almost have to go out of your way.
Even as much as you'd hate to hear it, even when Ronnie Reagan came in 1980, he was very plain and direct about what he planned to do.
Yes, he was.
And he did it, right or wrong. At least he was upfront about it, and we all knew what he said he was going to do and wanted to do.
Did the tornadoes, touch down or something? 9-9 to the point when I was starting to build some confidence. 461 in Largo. Sam, you're on the air at WFLA.
Hello, Mr. Lassiter.
Yes, Sam.
This is Mr. Steinberger.
Mm-hmm.
Getting back to the tights issue, I think actually what you should do with them is donate them to the space program. On the next flight, shuttle flight, I think they should be used as an emergency parachute.
Well, I'm sorry, Sam, but the disposition of the tights has already been taken care of.
Well, at least I gave it a good shot anyway.
Well, I don't think so.
To say that, Al Gore for president would be a good president, and I think he has a good chance of winning in November.
Well, unfortunately, he has no chance of getting the nomination, Dale.
He doesn't?
No, sir.
Oh, I didn't know that. Or Jesse Jackson.
Well, try reading the newspaper.
Mm-hmm. Well, I feel that Al Gore may get the nomination, though.
Mm-hmm. What makes you think that, Dale, besides wishful thinking?
Well, I just think that he's overqualified. He's qualified for the position,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the best thing about it is we've had the oldest president. Why don't we have the youngest president in history now, Al Gore?
Well, that makes a great deal of sense, and that's probably going to make an awful lot of people suddenly change their minds and ask for another primary.
Yeah. Okay, well, I thank you.
Okay, Dale, take care there. Don't hurt yourself. Chris, you're on the air at WFLA.
How you doing, Bob?
Fine, thank you.
I was just thinking, since the candidates are getting younger and younger, getting more into my age anyway, how long do you think it'll be before we have a president that has a drug scandal, that's a drug user?
You mean something like Ginsburg? The guy that was up for the Supreme Court nomination, someone who has used drugs in the past?
No, I mean one that'll be doing it in the White House, and we won't know about it until, a year after he's in there or so.
I don't think anybody that does drugs could ever get to the White House.
You don't think so?
No, I don't, because it just, it just burns out your head too much. You can't do drugs and be out there 15, 16 hours a day campaigning and saying reasonably intelligent things.
Yeah.
Reasonably, mind you.
I was just wondering, it just, it's more the drug generation, it's getting closer to that, and I was just wondering if it could ever happen.
I can't conceive of it. I just cannot conceive of an active drug user getting himself elected or herself.
We'd really be in pretty bad shape then, because they sure ain't going to be wanting to try to stop the drugs from coming in if he's doing them himself.
You can't stop the drugs from coming in. That simply is not the way to attack the problem.
Right, but I mean, he wouldn't want to attack the problem at all if he was one himself. But I'm really let down that Pierre DuPont was not left in. I mean, that he couldn't have done better. I think he would have turned us around. I don't know if you agree.
Well, Pierre DuPont had a couple of very decent ideas, but he also said a couple of things that classified him from day one as a lunatic.
What was that?
Well, for example, elect me president and I'll check all the high school lockers. Elect me president and we'll see to it that the driver's licenses of young people who get into trouble are suspended. First of all, these aren't his prerogative.
Yeah.
They're not his prerogative at all. They were kind of crazy, dumb things to say, which unfortunately, from the very first day, because he said them on the first day that he entered the campaign, made a lot of people look at him like, somewhat of a nut.
Yeah, I think he could have been a good president, though. A real good one.
Well, I don't know that much about DuPont, to be perfectly honest with you, but I didn't find him totally distasteful except for the very popular type things that he said in the beginning of his campaign to get a little bit of attention. I wish he'd, thought of another way to get some attention because...
I noticed when the newscasts would come on that they'd mention everybody and Bruce Babbitt and everybody, but they'd always leave his name out. He'd never be mentioned.
People run around saying, the poor Democrats, they don't have a hell of a lot to choose from this year. Well, the poor Republicans didn't have a hell of a lot to choose from.
Yeah, I think he was the best one. That might have been a little eccentric about the lockers, but his Social Security ideas and welfare and all that I think would have really helped this country out a lot.
Well, I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, is not DuPont, actually pretty much the same position with Social Security as I have, and that is make it a means test-based program?
Exactly.
I.e. no Social Security for the millionaires, thank you.
Exactly. That would help. I bet that would cut the budget tremendously.
Well, at this particular point in the game, it would be worth at least $3 to $5 billion, bare minimum, right now today.
And at the least you could up the poor people that need it 20% maybe. Give them a little more money.
Exactly. But it's just one of those things that our guys up there in Washington won't touch with a 10-foot pole.
Why can we sit on the radio and talk about these things and know that it would work, but we get these bozos up there running for president and they say it won't work and they just throw it out the door?
Because it would turn 3 to 5 million voters off on them in a real hurry.
Yeah, but after they get in there, they could do it, and they still won't do it. A bunch of assholes is what they are.
Gutless ones at that. Thank you, Chris.
All right.
Take care. Love people that call from the cathedral. But Jews are Americans first and foremost.
Well, yeah, but you've got to remember that a lot of those Jews are in a good financial position. Maybe some of the stuff that appeals...
well, I guess those Jews in a good financial position, as you placed it, would have the interest of this country at heart far more than the interest of Israel so that they can stay in a good financial position.
I'm not putting a value judgment on it. I'm not saying whether it's...
No, I know exactly what you're trying to do, madam. I know precisely what you're trying to do. I didn't get into this business yesterday.
Sorry?
I said I didn't get into this business yesterday.
Yeah, okay.
Now, I know exactly where you're coming from.
Yeah, all right.
Yeah, so I guess that kind of, takes some of the wind out of your sails, huh? Yeah. Get off my phone, you disgusting woman. John there at WFLA.
Yeah, good afternoon, Bob.
Afternoon, James.
Yeah, I was wondering, how long you think it'll be before we have a Japanese president in the United States? Huh? Someone who can chat with Bob, in Japanese?
Sir, you couldn't chat with Bob in a men's room. Dorothy in Clearwater, you're on the air at WFLA. You're on the air at WFLA.
Hello?
Yes, Dorothy.
Mr. Lassiter, I would like to address a group of people who aired their opinions on your program a few weeks ago regarding the snowbirds in Florida.
Uh-huh.
Most of the calls were rather unkind.
Yes, they were, Dorothy. Yes.
Made any mention of the economics of the snowbirds in Florida?
Well, first of all, Dorothy, we were talking about brain-damaged snowbirds.
I beg your pardon?
We were talking about brain-damaged snowbirds.
Or rain?
Brain.
Well, I'm talking about what the money that the thousands and thousands of people pour into this state.
Mm-hmm.
And we think that it's... just a minute. Okay, pardon me.
Mm-hmm.
Another point I want to make, and this was not on your show. Come in. Last Sunday morning on a program quite early in...
Well, wait a second. How could something that happened last Sunday... Dorothy, how could something that happened last Sunday morning have come up on my show several weeks ago?
No, this is Sunday morning. It has nothing to do with you. I want to correct an impression that was made on the radio.
On somebody else's show. I see.
All right, not your show, Tom. But
well, understand why you're not
that
cognizant
Canada
of brain damage.
Thousands of miles away, and we couldn't possibly drive here without the use of auto trains. I would like to suggest that the Canadians...
Which exciting show was this on, by the way, Dorothy?
I beg your pardon?
Which exciting show was this on?
Oh, it was on fishing.
On fishing?
Yes, and they were talking about the snowbirds who fish. and it was a very nice program. But
very nice program.
People think that Canada is so far away. Now,
Do we
I'd
have
like
a
to say
fishing
that
show
they
on
thought the
weekends?
people came by auto train. There's no terminal near Canada. I live a long way up in Ontario, and I'm only 1,500 miles, and we come down in 3 days, 2 nights. The young yuppies do it in 24 hours.
Not only was this not my show, but it's not even the station. Which station is this fishing show on that you listen to on Sunday
I don't
morning?
know. I listen to your station all the time.
Well, there
but
isn't
I'm
a fishing
just
show.
using your program to perhaps correct some wrong impressions.
You think that a lot of people that... Dorothy,
And I thank you very much.
Dorothy, do you think that a lot of the people that listen to the show get up on Sunday morning to listen to fishing shows?
Oh, I don't know. I'm just an early bird.
No, that's not the kind of bird you are at all, dearie. Not the kind of bird you are at all. Here at WFLA.
Mr. Lassiter.
Yes, Jim.
What gives you the right over public radio
I don't work on public radio.
auction off a disgusting, despicable pair of tights?
Well, I can't argue with anything that you've said, with the possible exception of on public radio. I don't work on public radio. I work at WFLA.
Why didn't you just simply put them in a very large package and ship them over to the state of Israel?
What's that supposed to mean, Jim?
Whatever you think, sir.
No, sir,
And by the way, who's the
not what
woman
I
that bought
think.
it?
It's
How
what
about give me
you
your
think.
phone number?
Okay, and our new policy to tell you how long they waited to do it. 14 minutes for Jim. Steve in Tampa. Steve, you're on the air at WFLA.
Hey, Bob, how you doing?
Fine, Steve. Fine, Steve.
Hey, I'd just like to make a comment. Why's your wife so sleazy?
My wife isn't
Human
sleazy.
pig!
No, actually, my wife is a real looker, Steve. Something that you'll never have. And Steve waited 13 minutes for that.
So anyway, I took my wife shopping over to Tyrone Mall there a couple of weeks ago, and I had to go to the men's room.
Mm-hmm.
I went in there, and it was dark. Now, you know, I'm the white leopard, so I'm like, I carry a giant ray of light with me wherever I go, so the place lit up.
Mm-hmm.
And I heard grunting and groaning in there on the toilet, inside the stall. And there was voices, and I caught him singing to himself, and he was digging in a bowl with both hands, furiously. So I guess I can't see meeting the guy. You know, I know you tried to arrange a meet between me and him a few weeks ago, but
I did.
I think Ted Wood did.
Well,
so I could never let somebody like that
a lot of
inside
people
my
get Teddy and I
dwelling.
mixed up.
Huh?
I said a lot of people get Teddy and I mixed up.
All right, I could never let an animal like that inside my dwelling. You know what I mean?
Oh, sure, yes.
Now, them shorts that you, that broad bitted on, did you, get the stink out of them?
What makes you so sure they stink?
Well,
Maybe mine doesn't, you know what I mean?